The following program is an opinion program. The opinions expressed by the hosts and this program are not the opinions of the management, staff, and advertisers of this station. Please direct all criticism, concern, and adulation to the hosts of this program.
Welcome to Alabama Politics This Week. I am Dale Jackson. I'm a radio talk show host. You can hear my show from 5 until 9 a.m. WVNN in Huntsville. And you can also follow me on all the social media apps at The Dale Jackson and at YellowHammerNews.com. With me, as always, Mecca Musick. She is the CEO of 256today.com. Smart news for smart people. Smart enough to know you don't make violent threats or analogies. You leave that up to me and the President of the United States, because that's what we do, apparently.
And I'm not a fan of either.
Yeah, no, I'm well aware.
The
I'm well aware. We got a great guest today. Probably our most frequent guest in the history of this program, Congressman Mo Brooks.
I love talking to Congressman Brooks. He's always got smart takes on things.
All right, the former congressman will be here in just a bit. I've got a parting shot about Kay Ivey and how she let PBS up off the mat. We'll talk about that in a little bit as well. But right now, let's go ahead and get to the 2-minute warning. All right, Epstein. I've never been to Epstein Island. I just want to throw that out there. I'm not going to show up on any lists or anything like that, and I'm not too worried about it. I'm going to be honest with you. It sounds to me like Donald Trump has a lot to worry about here, but it sounds like Democrats might have more to worry about here. Because he gave a lot more money to them. He apparently had more conversations with them at this point. And once we get a handle on what's in the quote-unquote files, now that it has passed the House, the Senate, and the President has signed it, I think we're going to get a lot of information. And you can also just make it a choose-your-own-adventure book. Just decide whatever. I'll take this and I'll believe this. I don't believe this. This is bad. This is this. And you can do all these things, and it's a lot of fun. So the question is, Mecca, is this where they get him?
Are you talking about President Trump?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's always who we're talking about when this question comes up.
I know. I didn't really understand the take on this one, though.
There's the Epstein files, and he's apparently all over them, and then that means that he's going to be taken out of office. Come on, you're not following the news.
I'm sorry, I didn't see that part. No, as far as President Trump, what I think was probably the most damaging at this point was his handling of the whole issue. He campaigned on releasing these files and then was against it. It was a hoax. It was, I think, at best very confusing for people, but definitely not a good look.
No, absolutely not. And then he comes out and says, okay, go ahead and vote for it. All the Republicans come on board and say, oh, yeah, us too. And then they go ahead and they get it. And now they're going to put it out. I said this on my radio show, and I stand by this. If the DOJ comes out and says, oh, we can't release this because of these cases going on, they should 25th Amendment the President of the United States. Because he is obviously clearly diminished to the point where he cannot figure out simple politics, so he may not be in the impairment to be the President of the United States. And I'm dead serious about that, because this has been handled so poorly, I started to question, is that Joe Biden? Is there something wrong with this guy? What is going on? Handled it so poorly. But, as we've talked about before, the number one thing Donald Trump has going for him is the quality of his enemies. They have created a scenario that could backfire on them. Mm-hmm. If they don't have a smoking gun on him, in a form of a video, a picture, or something, they've got problems. And I think that's the situation we're about to walk into. Let's move on. Let's talk about what I'm calling the college football triumvirate. And that means that on the day after the election, we could wake up and we could have head coach Tommy Tuberville as the governor. We could have QB1 as lieutenant governor. And then we could have a commentator, not me, Paul Feinbaum, as the United States Senator. This sounds completely crazy to me, I'll be honest with you. And over the course of the last week or so, I had a private conversation with Paul Feinbaum. Yes. I had a conversation on a radio show with Paul Feinbaum. We didn't talk any politics. We talked a little sports there. But I think it's pretty clear that the guy, Paul Feinbaum, is getting ready to get in this race. I think that's a no-brainer. McCarron's already in. Tuberville's already won. We don't even need to talk about him. He's the governor-elect. Just forget about it. But it looks to me like A.J. McCarron doesn't want to talk to anybody. And Paul Feinbaum wants to talk to everybody.
Right.
And that's
different approaches.
Right. And I did a video for YellowHammerNews.com, and on that video, I went through the local news stories covering the story, and one's like, A.J. McCarron running from reporters like they're linebackers. A.J. McCarron remaining tight-lipped. And they're just like, and what they're doing is they're beating him. They're beating him up for not talking to reporters. And they also people were blocking for him, so he wouldn't. And they've got it. They know the story. They know what they're going to do. A.J. McCarron, I think, is the weakest of all of these candidates right now, in the form of how they're handling all of this. Feinbaum's keeping his name out there, dangling out there. That's there. Again, Tuberville's already won. A.J. McCarron's in trouble.
Okay, so there was some poll numbers that came out, that actually had AJ very high on there. However, in full disclosure, I have also been seeking an interview with AJ McCarron and have been unable to get it.
You probably heard that Dale Jackson would be there.
At this point. No, we did invite him on the show, but also just, for my own news, working on that. However, I'll have to add something. It's not all of these are just a shoe-in like Tuberville necessarily. Not that he was a shoe-in.
None of them except for Tuberville are a shoe-in.
That's what I'm talking about. And so, and I have not seen this poll, but reportedly there's a poll that said Feinbaum's numbers were not that good. He does have the name recognition, but not necessarily the support.
There could be a lot of things happening. Right. It's easy to know somebody. It's about liking somebody. And Feinbaum might have an issue. A lot of the issue is, what does A.J. McCarron believe?
Right.
What does Paul Feinbaum believe? Okay, that's it.
But I feel like Feinbaum, if he jumps in, is more than willing to tell you everything.
But he also has a more public record, which is hundreds and hundreds, or probably thousands and thousands of hours of radio and things like that. I know a little bit about that. All right, moving on. Let's talk about Doug Jones. What a loser! I mean, I don't even know. I don't even know how to explain this any differently than this. But is this real? I mean, if you're Doug Jones, are you this bored? Do you have nothing else to do? Nothing else? You can't beat Tommy Tuberville. You can be embarrassed over and over and over again. I want to remind you, all these people, Doug Jones, he turned a red state blue. Yeah, right, great. You know who he ran against? Roy Moore. And Roy Moore ain't walking through that door, okay? That's not happening. Roy Moore is out of this. What is he doing?
Okay, we talked about this last week, okay? And listen, you agreed with this. It does keep him politically involved. It keeps him somewhat relevant.
Yes.
I mean, and that's a good thing. Even if the polls are showing he's going to get demolished, as a recent one did, it still helps his profile in some way. And we also talked about this last week. It helps the lower ticket candidates on the Democratic side, especially races that could potentially be close, like House District 10.
Yeah, if you want to get people to donate money to the Democratic Party so you have someone at the top of the ticket so it's slightly less embarrassing down the line, it makes a lot of sense. And all I'm saying here is he's a loser. And I want people to make sure that I understand that my main point is he's a loser.
Okay,
and the point I mean by this is
he's a loser. I get it.
Hold on, listen. He beat Roy Moore by 10,000 votes. Okay. Then he got absolutely annihilated. Okay, by Tommy Tuberville, like they were Alabama 6 years in a row. I mean, that's how bad it was. And then he comes back and goes, "I'll take him on." Why? What has changed?
Okay,
his party's gone crazier, and the Alabama Democrats have become less relevant.
Okay, though, listen, there is another issue. Remember the whole residency issue that people were really squawking about?
Oh yes, this is Will Hill get Tommy Tuberville.
No, I'm not saying, but what if this? Listen, lightning strike once. He ran against Roy Moore. He won. What if something? I mean, you can't win if you're not in the race.
Well, let's be clear. He can't win anyway. Okay, so that just if Tommy Tuberville, let's say lightning strikes and Tommy Tuberville's driver's license appears and it says Florida and they have to remove him from the ticket. You know who they can put up to beat Doug Jones? Anyone. Okay, that's who. Okay, moving on. Let's continue. Let's talk about redistricting. And really, the question is, how far does this go? I can tell you a redistricting story out of California. I can tell you a redistricting story out of Texas. I can tell you a redistricting story out of Mobile. I can tell you a redistricting story out of North Alabama. And I think it all boils down to one thing. The Supreme Court eventually, before 2026 is all said and done, could walk in and just go, "I don't like this anymore," and just wipe it all away and say, "Do whatever you want. Go crazy. You want to gerrymander because of politics? Go right ahead and remove the racial component from this." I got a lot of heat a couple weeks ago because a very stupid person running for Congress, Jeremy DeVito, I believe he's Danny DeVito's uncle or something. He's running for Congress, and he said, we were having a discussion about this, and I made a point that when they drew those districts, the judges came in and said, "Hey, send me just any black Democrat," and that's basically who we want to have represent Shamari Figueroa seat, which is exactly what they said. And "Oh, that's racist. That's racist." I'm like, I didn't say that. That's what the judges said. That was the decision they made. And I think the Supreme Court looks at that and goes, this isn't right. This is not what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be picking the race of the person who's in this position. And I think it blows it up. And I think what it does is it detonates everything all the way down the line.
It's okay. I didn't want to talk this topic, apparently.
I'm sorry. How far will this go, Mecca?
Okay, thank you. So the implications of this could not be more huge. This is huge. We're talking everything from congressional lines to no more majority districts potentially, down to like county commission lines.
Yeah, so, from races where people care to where they don't care. Yeah,
That's not nice. I care.
Okay.
So a lot of people care. But no, the implications of this could be huge. How far, though, do you think they'll actually take it that far? I mean, we know where Alabama's going to go if that is the case.
I think you just need one domino to fall and takes the whole thing out. That's. Wow. I'm not saying they're going to do that because by the reporting that you've seen in the conversation they had at the Supreme Court that maybe they were a little on the whole thing. I'm blowing the whole thing up. But if they could very easily do it. And if they do, it will have ripple effects. Because some states are already 9-1, 8-1, whatever, and you could change that and wipe that out completely. So we'll see what happens. You know who might know about this? A guy who had to deal with congressional redistricting. A guy who had to do with county commission redistricting. A guy who had to deal with state House redistricting. I believe that's all of us he had to deal with. He'll tell me I'm wrong, though. Mo Brooks will be with us here in a second. The former congressman will join us. Stay tuned. It's Alabama Politics this week.
Fox 54 Plus is your streaming home for news from the world of sports. Get the latest scoop on Bama straight from the coach's mouth. Stream the Kalen DeBoer Show anytime on Fox 54 Plus. Live, local, and always on.
You work hard to earn little escapes because doing your best means being your best. So let us help you ever your best at Premier Dental Spa. With our unique blend of cosmetic, dental, and spa-like aesthetic services, you'll leave feeling relaxed, refreshed, and renewed. Make sure the best you is here to stay and book your appointment online today at premierdentalspa.com.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for University Kia. This is my son Grant. He's a busy guy. Chess, piano, basketball, wrestling, baseball, you name it. There's probably some stuff that I missed that my wife will be mad about. Here's the thing. It's important to have reliable transportation. And my friends at University Kia, they take great care of me. I've been driving Sportages my entire life. My wife drives a Telluride now. It is the perfect vehicle for the busy family. Folks, University Kia, let them take care of you like they've taken care of my family. That's University Kia. Learn more at universitykia.com.
Tom, Grant, and Dale Jackson sent you.
At Elite Door Service, we're your local experts for all things garage doors, residential and commercial. Our licensed and insured team is led by a certified master technician. When it comes to garage doors, don't settle for average. Choose Elite Door Service.
Scout Pest Control is your stop shop for pest control. We do it all, from rodents to mosquitoes, termite to bed bugs. We offer a 100% satisfaction guarantee on all our services. When you think pest control, think Scout. ScoutPestControl.com. Scout Pest Control is locally owned and operated. We offer superb customer service and can even clean up after pests. When you think pest control, think Scout. Call us at 256-216-1088 or visit ScoutPestControl.com.
Think you need a new roof? Think again and save thousands. We'll help you put off the high cost of a roof replacement for at least 5 years.
Or 10.
Or sometimes even 15.
We're America's most trusted roofer because we always try to save your roof rather than replace it.
We'll restore your roof for a fraction of the cost of a new one. But don't wait. If your roof loses too much protective coating, it's too late. Call now or scan the code and we'll give you an assessment of your roof for free.
What if you could make a free phone call and reduce your car payment by as much as $83 a month? Right now, you could be paying as high as 20% interest. Your new interest rate could be reduced to as low as 2.48%. You can refinance any existing car loan or leased car and save money every month. Make this free phone call and learn how to save hundreds of dollars a year by refinancing your existing car loan.
Fox 54 Plus is your streaming home for news from the world of sports. Join the Fox 54 team for local highlights and insights. Stream Fox 54 Sports Extra anytime on Fox 54 Plus. Live, local, and always on.
Welcome back to Alabama Politics This Week. I am Dale Jackson. This is Mecca Music.
And this week we have former Congressman Mo Brooks on to join us. And thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
Now, we have a lot to talk about, and we kind of were fighting over who gets to ask what. But I did want to ask you about a recent push in Alabama that's a natural-born citizen constitutional amendment. Now, I understand you have some thoughts on this.
Yes.
What is your take on this?
Well, it's somewhat evil, and it is definitely politically stupid. And Wes Allen, who is our Secretary of State, a fellow by the name of Marks, who's a state legislator from Baldwin County, and Senator Chastain from the Wiregrass, they need to withdraw that legislation. They need to apologize for it. And if I were to break it into three different parts, first, what it does is it bars anybody who's a naturalized citizen for running for the majority of state and some local offices in Alabama, okay? And these are people who have become American citizens and done it the right way.
Well, who asked for this?
Well,
why? This came out of completely out of the blue. Who asked for this?
I don't know who asked for it. And I would like to hear them say which foreign-born citizens prompted them to decide that this is something that ought to be in the Alabama Constitution. But basically what it does, by barring these people from running for public office to a very large degree, it discriminates them against them and turns them into second-class citizens. Now, to me, that's kind of Jim Crow law, that's racist, that's making decisions based on who people are and where they are from instead of the merits of their character or their public policy positions. And it's just wrong. It's going to give Alabama a black eye. But taking it a step past that to the political side of it, you've got something like 26 million naturalized citizens across the United States, 19 million of who vote. And then in Alabama, you've got 70-something thousand naturalized citizens, 50-something thousand of whom vote. Why in the world would any Republican think it's wise to alienate huge black votes? And they'll be alienated because it's a sign of we hate you.
And they will be using it nationally too.
Absolutely.
To pick it up.
And so how is that going to affect us nationally with those elections and statewide with those elections?
And recruiting for business.
And then finally,
yeah.
it's unconstitutional.
Yes.
So even if they get it passed, it's going to be struck down. But in the meantime, you've alienated 26 million adult citizens around the country and 70-something thousand in the state of Alabama. It's unconstitutional. It violates due process clause, equal protection clause, the naturalization clause of the Article 1 of the Constitution. It's just dumb.
Are you feeling people are responding to this when you know you have been vocal, you wrote a piece about this? Are people responding to your viewpoint on this?
Yes, they are, and particularly those who are being relegated to second-class citizenship. They do not like it, and justifiably so. Would any of y'all like it if suddenly someone decides to make it a part of the Alabama Constitution that you can't run for certain public offices?
Sorry. Yeah, no, obviously not. I thought you were saying her. Yeah.
If I were a naturalized citizen, again, someone who's done it the right way, and if the Republicans persist in pushing this, I probably would never vote Republican again the rest of my life.
I think they're going to have a serious problem if they do this. We got to switch gears here just a second here. I want to talk to you about this Epstein stuff here real quick. You were in Congress for a long time. This was up there kicking around. People were suggesting this. We never got to this point where it's like, let's have a vote. Let's get this stuff removed. Let's do this because of ongoing investigations and stuff like this. Without getting into too much detail, are you surprised this went through as quick as it did?
No. Once Donald Trump's opposition collapsed, it was pretty clear that the vast majority of the Republican House members and senators were going to vote for it. Once Trump's opposition collapsed. And quite frankly, this is the difference between people who go to Washington just to have the job and to do votes and all that kind of, and people who show leadership. We have 250-something Republicans, 60-something, whatever the number is, serving in the Senate and the House. Only 4 of them, 4, actually fought to make this happen. The others sat back and said, I don't want to have anything to do with it. But then finally, when they see the parade going by, the thing's going to pass, they try to jump to the front. That's what politicians do. But it was those 4 Marjorie Taylor Greene from Georgia, Thomas Massey from Kentucky, Lauren Boebert from Colorado, and Nancy Mace from South Carolina that forced that vote to happen. And to me, it's very hypocritical to see what's going on amongst Republicans on this issue. But I should also emphasize, Democrats are pretty much the same.
Yeah.
When Nancy Pelosi
Nobody wanted any part of this.
When Nancy Pelosi was in charge of the House, and the Democrats were in charge of the House, they weren't pushing the disclosure of all the Epstein information.
Democrats wanted to go after this because they thought it got Trump. Republicans didn't want to deal with it because they were afraid maybe it did. I mean, that's the simple fact of the matter. And I think this goes back, and this is a little off track here for a second, but Jeff Sessions told me one time, he's like, during the Russian investigation, and I'm paraphrasing, of course, he said, I basically told Trump, he's like, I was there, you were there. We didn't do anything. Like, just let this thing play out. Like he basically, I'm paraphrasing broadly. But same thing here. You were there. You know if you did something or not. I mean, let's just, and if you're not guilty, you sure look like it sometimes. Sorry, go ahead, Mecca.
It was poorly handled.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of big news, a lot of big things happening, in your opinion, and because of your viewpoint, because we talked about county commissioners, we talked about every position you have held and been a part of. Talk to me about the redistricting and just how big, you might have heard Dell and I talking about earlier, what the implications are from the Supreme Court ruling, could be.
Well, the implications are huge for the direction of our country for decades to come. That's how big it is. And quite frankly, I am sorely disappointed in our federal court judges and in our Supreme Court, because their rulings to date, by and large, with minor exceptions, have been it's okay to racially discriminate against Caucasians, but you can't discriminate against other people when it comes to redistricting. Now, the way I look at it, the Republicans, when they're in charge, are wanting to discriminate against Democrats. And Democrats, when they're in charge, are wanting to discriminate against Republicans in redistricting. That's what gerrymandering is all about, and that's what's been going on for centuries. But for the Supreme Court to interject race, as they have, instead of partisanship, which is different, but race, and make one-sided, that's wrong. And if they persist in this position, probably 5 more seats for Democrats out of California, 5 fewer seats for Republicans out of Texas versus the plan that the legislature in Texas passed. And that shifts the House of Representatives all by itself.
Yeah, I think we see a lot of this, and I think, go ahead.
Well, let me make this clear. So you're saying it would be okay to do districts by political affiliation, but not race?
Well, that's the way it's been done, and there's nothing in the United States Constitution that bars discrimination based on political affiliation. Okay? If you're a communist, I have every right to try to keep you from being in office, okay? That's a belief system. That's a public policy system.
Yes.
And if you're a socialist, same thing.
Save those
but I can't discriminate against you. I can't discriminate against you because of inherent things for which you have no control, which would be your sex, it would be your race, it might be your ethnicity, things like that. That's what the Constitution protects.
Right.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you think they blow it up, the Supreme Court?
I have no clue as to what the Supreme Court is going to do because they're very inconsistent and they're all over the map.
All right, there we go. Mo Brooks, thank you very much. Former Congressman from the 5th Congressional District. We appreciate him coming on the program. And if history says anything, he'll be back soon. So stay tuned. Thank you so much. You're watching and listening to Alabama Politics this week. Mecca's leaving, so the show's going to get so much better. Stay tuned.
Fox 54 Plus is your streaming home for news from the sports. Join the Fox 54 sports team for local highlights and insights. Stream Fox 54 Sports Extra anytime on Fox 54 Plus. Live, local, and always on.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for University Kia. This is my son Grant. He's a busy guy. Chess, piano, basketball, wrestling, baseball, you name it. There's probably some stuff that I missed that my wife will be mad about. Here's the thing. It's important to have reliable transportation. My friends at University Kia, they take great care of me. I've been driving Sportages my entire life. My wife drives a Telluride, and it is the perfect vehicle for the busy family. Folks, University Kia, let them take care of you like they've taken care of my family. That's University Kia. Learn more at universitykia.com.
Tom Grant and Dale Jackson sent you.
You work hard to earn little escapes because doing your best means being your best. So let us help you discover your best premier dental spa. With our unique blend of cosmetic, dental, and spa-like aesthetic services, you'll leave feeling relaxed, refreshed, and renewed. Make sure the best you is here to stay and book your appointment online today at premierdentalspa.com.
Scout Pest Control is your one-stop shop for pest control. We do it all, from rodents to mosquitoes, termites to bed bugs. We offer a 100% satisfaction guarantee on all our services. When you think pest control, think Scout. ScoutPestControl.com. Scout Pest Control is locally owned and operated. We offer superb customer service and can even clean up after pests. When you think pest control, think Scout. Call us at 256-216-1088 or visit ScoutPestControl.com.
At Elite Door Service, we're your local experts for all things garage doors, residential and commercial. Our licensed and insured team is led by a certified master technician. When it comes to garage doors, don't settle for average. Choose Elite Door Service.
Think you need a new roof? Think again and save thousands. We'll help you put off the high cost of a roof replacement for at least 5 years.
Or 10.
Or sometimes even 15.
We're America's most trusted roofer because we always try to save your roof rather than replace it.
We'll restore your roof for a fraction of the cost of a new one. But don't wait. If your roof loses too much protective coating, it's too late. Call now or scan the code and we'll give you an assessment of your roof for free.
What if this happened to you when you're alone? Or what if it happened here? With MedGuard Alert, you're never alone. You can connect with medical professionals anywhere, anytime. And now MedGuard is introducing our exclusive new Care Watch. If you need help quickly, use it from anywhere to contact medical professionals. No cell phone required. The Care Watch is not only a life-saving medical alert device, it's a revolutionary health monitoring system that checks your blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen saturation, and much more. And here's the best part. If you have Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. The Care Watch is only available through MedGuard Alert. Call us right now. We have monitoring programs starting as low as $1 a day. The call is free, activation is free, shipping is free, and no contract is required. Remember, with Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. Don't wait. Call us.
Fox 54 Plus is your streaming home for news from the world of sports. Get the scoop on Bama straight from the coach's mouth. Stream the Kalen DeBoer Show anytime on Fox 54 Plus. Live, local, and always on.
Welcome back to Alabama Politics. This week, I am Dale Jackson. We're about to jump in here to the parting shot. But before I do, let me remind you, head on over to yellowhammernews.com. Sign up for my email blast. That's yellowhammernews.com. All right, let's get to it. My party shot this week is directed at Governor Kay Ivey over her PBS BS. She let him up off the mat. Republicans have been clear. It is time to remove PBS from the public airwaves and not make the public pay for it. I think people have been very clear from the president on down. And Kay Ivey, right before the vote to actually do this on Alabama Public Television, she goes in and lets him up off the mat. Unacceptable. Now they're going to have a committee where they look into it. Nothing's going to change. We know what it's all about. Pumped in from Washington, D.C. We know the bias. There's no value in it. It is time to move on from that right now, and that's what we should have done. We didn't do it, though, and that's unfortunate. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to Alabama Politics this week.